Some of y'all getting this right. We are 1 Corinthians chapter 5. 1 Corinthians chapter 5. I'm going to hand that over there. So here, let me get everything out of my pocket. There we go.
Where's the wallet? Superheroes don't have pockets. They wear tights.
You want the wallet. There ain't nothing in it. You can have it all you want.
Where's the key?
You left and your sister took over.
Give him the key to the motorcycle.
All right. There we go.
Why is the superhero being held up on the?
Why is what?
Why is the superhero being held up?
That's a good idea, isn't it? It's a good idea. But, our good question. We are in 1 Corinthians, and we're still doing our series called what? Called Out. Called Out, living as a church in a what? A broken world. How many of you ever seen somebody who they're sick, but they don't want to admit they're sick? Most men. We're not going to talk about men today, Marcia. We're at Father's Day. We're not going to talk about men today. This is Father's Day. But there's a lot of people you'll get sick. They'll get sick and they're not sick. There's nothing wrong with them. Nothing wrong with them at all, right? Nothing's going to happen. That's the way the world is right now. That's the way the world does not think anything is wrong with them. They don't think anything's wrong with them. So it's very important that we understand how to live as a church in a broken world, especially when it doesn't think there's anything wrong with it. Especially when it doesn't think anything wrong with it. So yes, today we're going to do chapter 5, which is what?
Church tolerance.
It's in 1 Corinthians, yes, but it's when church tolerates sin. When church tolerates sin. That's a big one, isn't it? That's a toughie. Especially when we've got so many churches these days who will say, well, now that's not a sin. Or, well, that's just a little sin. Right? It's just a little sin.
Sin.
Sin is sin, right? There's no little ones. There's no big ones. There's sin. And it either is or it
Isn't.
I love that. I was going to say ain't. Isn't works much better. That's more proper. It's either sin or not. But the church has a choice. Why are some, before we get into the meat of it here, what are some of the reasons churches would tolerate sin? Corruption. To keep their congregation.
Slacking on their worship.
See, right there we got the two main reasons right there. Corruption. You have corruption. If you guys, ladies, you don't think there's corruption in church, where you been? The whole Protestant Reformation, the reason that we're not Catholic today, is because of corruption. So the church will tolerate sin. How many of you know, and this is a funny fact for you, how many of you know that the Pope is the only priest who can have children? Yeah. No, that don't make sense, does it? Except that it was interesting enough that when they became, there was a lot of guys, when they became Pope, all of a sudden they had legitimate children. Corruption. Corruption. When the church tolerates sin. The other, I like what Trish said, to keep your congregation. Well, I don't want. Hey, Pastor. Yeah. Can I talk to you for a minute? Sure. What's going on? Did you know Patsy and Roger are living in sin? They're not. They're married. I'm just using them as an example. Did you know they're living together?
We got a baby.
That's a miracle and it's not.
It is.
But you get what I'm saying, right? And my favorite response to this, okay, what would you have me do about it? I think you should talk to them. Okay. Well, what are you doing about it? I'm talking to you. Oh, thanks. Well, unless you and I go on Wednesday night and have a chat with them. I can't go on Wednesday night. But it's interesting that we do that to keep our congregation. We don't want to talk about things. Hey, I saw Preston the other day. I saw him coming out 1:30 in the morning, coming out of that bar over there. He's staggering so bad. I don't know. He looked like he was in bad shape. You know, I'm using Clesson as an example, but I actually had a man tell me that one time. I said, I've got just one question for you. What were you doing at 1:30 outside the door?
Community watch.
I mean, and they didn't have an answer for that.
Watching Clesson. Watching Clesson.
What were you doing? Yeah, watching Clesson. It's interesting though. We don't like to talk about it because we don't want to offend anybody or because you've got corruption in your church. Let's keep going here. Imagine, I figure this picture is going to make Clesson. But imagine if you find a spot of mold on your wall. Is that bad? Is that better? Imagine if you find a spot of mold on your wall in your home. It's bigger than that behind the wall, Cleston says. At first, you just what?
Burn the house down.
Burn the house down. No, you don't think much about it. You might wipe it just a little bit, whatever. It seems harmless. It seems harmless. It's kind of like that bread mold my daddy used to tell me about. Just pinch it off. It's all right. All right. Or eat it with it. The problem with mold in your house is this. Left unchecked, it spreads through the walls and the ceilings. All of a sudden, you don't have a house held together by cardboard, as Julie says. You have it held together by mold. You've got to treat it when it's small. Eventually, it threatens the entire structure of your home. Eventually, it will run through your entire home. Same as what? Termites. See one little termite outside? Oh, I ain't worried about that. One little roach in your home. I ain't worried about that, right? You ain't worried about it, right? You just squish it. Right?
There's time there's more.
There's more. They say there's more. That's the problem. Even though it's small, it can cause large problems. And just like mold, sin can start small. Sin can start small. I was just one drink. Just one little sip. Oh, it's just one gaze at the J.C. Penney catalog. Some of y'all don't know what that means. A lot of the men are laughing, ladies. They know what it means. It starts out small, and then it has the potential to ruin the entire community. Have you ever heard that one bad apple ruins the bunch? Apparently they didn't have apples. We'll get to that in a minute. Paul's message of 1 Corinthians 5 is urgent and direct. Tolerating sin puts the whole church at risk. Tolerating sin puts the whole church at risk. Let's see what it says. It is actually reported that there is sexual immorality among you. Can you imagine starting off a letter like that? Can you imagine getting a letter from one of your friends? I hear you've been doing some bad sexual stuff. Thanks.
Who told you?
Where'd you hear that from? Could you imagine if we answered the phone that way? Hello? I can just imagine right now. Hello? Hey, son. Hey, Dad. Heard you've been doing some kinky stuff. I mean, wow. He just goes right into it here in chapter 5. It's actually reported that there's sexual immorality among you, and the kind of sexual immorality that is not even tolerated among the Gentiles. I mean, so they were getting a little kinky. A man is sleeping with his father's wife. Now, Tori went, what? Tori, for your information, there's no new sins, just new ways of doing the same old ones, okay? I mean, yeah, ugh. Could you imagine that? Hopefully it's not his mom.
Don't imagine that.
It doesn't say that, but, you just kind of hope that's not the case. He says a man is sleeping with his father's wife. Hopefully it's a second wife, but still, that's kind of, I mean, ew. I don't want any woman comparing those notes. That's kind of terrible, isn't it? So he goes on, and you are arrogant. In other words, you're bragging about it. I mean, that's terrible. You're bragging about it. Shouldn't you be filled with grief and remove from your congregation the one who did this? Shouldn't you feel sorry about it? I mean, I know guys will be guys, right? I'm one of those. I know guys will be guys. And yes, even in this church from time to time, we'll stand outside and maybe there'll be a little bit of a joke that's maybe a little discolored. But ain't none of us bragging about sleeping with his father's wife. At least I've not heard. Shouldn't you feel bad about it? Shouldn't you ask them to stop? Shouldn't you talk to them? And then Paul goes on, even though I'm absent in the body, I am present in the spirit. As one who is present with you in his way, I have already pronounced judgment on the one who's been doing such a thing. Do y'all ever wonder how Daddy always found out about everything? I mean, it was amazing. I couldn't get away with nothing. As soon as I got home, I couldn't even get in the truck. I'd open the door to get in the truck. And he'd just give me that look. I'm like, what do I do now? Which one, Of course, I wasn't as good as this one sitting up here. My daddy goes, there's something you want to tell me? And I just spill my guts. This one sitting up here came to visit us today. I'd ask him, he'd go, what have you been told? He wasn't going to admit to nothing. What do you already know? And my next question was, how many should I know about? When you are assembled in the name of our Lord Jesus, and I am with you in spirit with the power of our Lord Jesus, hand that one over to Satan. For the destruction of the flesh, so that his spirit may be saved in the day of the Lord. Whoo! Preacher, we can't do that these days. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that ceremony at a Baptist church? We're going to have this empty chair here for Brother George. We're handing him over to Satan today. What music do you pick out to go with that?
Slipknot.
What was that, Highway to Hell? Is that what you pick out? I mean,
Not Stairway to Heaven.
that might be a better selection. We're praying that you get on this stairway. Destruction of the flesh so that his spirit may be saved in the day of the Lord. Your boasting is not good. Can you imagine a church bragging about its sins? Now let me tell you. You got churches that do. Some of you just said,
Every mega church ever.
I was going to go with Episcopals, UMC, PCUSA.
Every mega church ever.
And, well, not all of them, but a lot of them. Yeah, a lot of your mega churches too. I mean, have y'all looked at some of the websites of these churches? Denominations I just named. Their backdrop now is a rainbow flag for this month. Is that not boasting? Yeah, there's one in High Point actually is flying right beside the Christian flag, the rainbow flag. Really? I don't want to mention names from the stage. Your boasting is not good. Don't you know that a little leaven leavens the whole batch of dough? What's he saying here? We're the what? We're the apple, right? One bad apple spoils the bunch. He's saying the same thing. A little leaven leavens the whole bunch of dough. Clean out the old leaven so that you may be a new unleavened batch. How do you keep a bad apple from spoiling the whole bunch?
Throw it away.
You get rid of the bad apple, right? It's interesting. Just this week, beautiful squash plants in my garden. Beautiful. I mean, leaves on that thing would make an elephant jealous over its ears. So big we can barely get in the greenhouse. Got one of them little greenhouses about half the size of this stage here. Guess what? They weren't. Some of them had little bitty ones on it, but there's one there, beautiful plant. Guess what it had? Nothing. I said, you know what? You had time. I yanked it out of there. Now, I put it in some dirt outside and it died, but I didn't care. I was going to give it its chance to go outside the garden. Now, I did plant it right beside of the others so they'd get the picture. Here's the thing. Went back out there the next day. Guess what? The others have what? Even more squash on them. You get rid of the bad apple, all the other apples are preserved. You get rid of the bad leaven, all the other dough's preserved. You get rid of what's taking all the nutrients and using it for nothing, and there's more growth. Farmers have known this for years. Why do you pick off the first ears of corn, even though they may be small? So it'll grow bigger, so it'll grow more, so it'll produce. See, if you leave, tomatoes are the same way. As soon as the first ones start to turn ripe, you pick them off. So it's putting more in the other fruits. Why do you trim the suckers off tomato plants? So it'll grow. Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. This might be a reason why our churches aren't growing, why our churches are in decline. You thought about that? Because maybe we're not putting the chair up here for George. God, we don't have a George in here. And if there's a George watching, I'm sorry. I'm just using that as an example. May not be you. Here's the thing. Clean out the old leaven so that you may be a new unleavened batch, as indeed you are, for Christ our Passover lamb has been sacrificed. A little leaven leavens the whole batch. Tolerating the small sin leads to what? Widespread consequences. As Adam was talking about, one of the big things I have against some of these larger churches, mega churches, not saying we wouldn't want to be one, we just want to do it the right way. Some of the argument I have is some of them tend to only preach on certain things. They only preach on niceties. They want to tickle your ear. Ladies, it's Father's Day. I'm going to pick on the fathers here. They couldn't be fathers without you, ladies, so we're going to pick on the fathers just a little bit. But if they hadn't been sweet to you when you were dating, would you have married them? Probably not. If they hadn't whispered sweet nothings in your ear, brought you flowers, opened the door for you to get in the car first. We don't do that anymore, do we, guys? I told Isaac to do it. He still does it. Of course, he's still single.
Chase does it.
Chase is still single.
He's engaged.
He's engaged, but he's still got to earn his keep. We'll give him 5 years. We'll see if he's still opening the door. Hopefully he is. I mean, of course, if you go to the Mexican restaurants, my dad taught me you get the woman in first. That way you have time to ease your way around. We'll talk to you about that later. Tolerating small sins lead to big consequences. It causes things to change. You don't want things there. Unchecked sin draws others away from accountability, like a team that excuses rule breaking. You ever been on a team that says, oh, that's okay? We had when I was playing on one team, I played 3 different high schools, playing football. I had a nose guard that liked to grab face mask. Do you think we tolerated it? No, because by the time we got a second 15-yard penalty for that, we told him, if you do that again, we're going to break your fingers. When I was a senior, we had a big boy that he complained a lot. Coach got tired of it. Coach said, if he complains one more time, y'all going to run an extra mile. You know what we told him?
Got it.
If we have to run an extra mile because of you, we're going to drag you around. Here's the thing. You can't excuse even the smallest one because it does what? It collapses the integrity for all. Here's the thing, folks. If you're a member of this church, put on your Revolution Worship and go out there. If one of you puts on a Revolution Worship shirt and goes out there and shoplifts, what are they going to say?
I don't come to your church.
I want to come to your church. Well, some of them might, but that's the wrong thing we want to teach. We don't want to teach that. That collapses the integrity for all. Collapses it for everybody. I wrote to you in a letter not to associate with sexual immoral people. I did not mean the immoral people of this world or the greedy and swindlers or idolaters. Wait a minute, what?
The ones within, not outside.
Otherwise, you would have to leave the world. He didn't say, I'm not telling you not to associate with people outside the church. They don't know no better. Otherwise, you'd have to leave the world. Not supposed to do that. But actually, I wrote you not to associate with anyone who claims to be a brother or sister and is sexually immoral or greedy, an idolater, or verbally abusive, a drunkard, or a swindler. Do not even eat with such a person. For what business is it of, he goes back to this, what business is it of mine to judge outsiders? That's a big problem we got, folks, in the church today. We like to talk about everybody outside the church and not talk about inside. Boy, them pedophiles. Them's nasty people, right? Nasty. They should go to jail. They should be beat on the way to jail. I mean, you hear all of it. Read social media. And then when one of our own gets caught, we're like, hey, psst, you should just resign. Be quiet about it. That's what we did. That's what we did. You want me to give his name? Some of you might know him. Check out Johnny Hunt. I don't mind calling him out. What's funny is, 2 months later, he was supposedly redeemed. Let me name another famous Baptist, Paul Pressler. Check that one out. And how it was covered up and swept under the rug. We over here pointing fingers at Catholics and everybody outside. We need to be opening our own closets. Paul says, don't worry about the people outside your church and how they're sinning. The thing you want to worry about them with is, hey, you need to come see Jesus. But then this problem here. What is it? Where is it where it collapses the integrity for all? If we're not cleaning out our own closets, what are we inviting people to? You follow me? Judge outsiders, remove the evil from the person among you. Don't you judge those who are inside. That's what we need to be. God judges outsiders. Then he says, remove the evil person from among you. Anybody want to admit to any sins right now? I didn't think so. I don't either. None of us want to do that. Here's the thing. This is a little harsh. We talk about forgiveness, and there is forgiveness. There is redemption. Only through Christ. Bless you. Bless you. Only through Christ. Church discipline is not about shame. Church discipline is not about shame. It's about what?
Protection.
Protection. Huh. You mean I'm not supposed to look at Sherry and just absolutely beat her up? If I could find a sin about Sherry, I'm not supposed to look at her and just beat her up and just shame her to no end. I'm going to make her feel so guilty she's going to quit doing that sin. Right? That's what I'm supposed to do, right? She claims to be a sister of mine in Christ. I'm going to shame her. Boy, let's just shame her. That's what a lot of churches do. They do that. And then they say, I love you. What? Did you hear what I just said? What? Cherry, I'm just picking on you. Here's the thing. It's about protection. Did you hear so-and-so? I heard so-and-so's daughter got pregnant. Go like wildfire, right? Shame, shame, shame. Bless her heart. We do it all the time. Now, are we supposed to condone it? Not necessarily, no. But there's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things. If I wanted to bake a cake, what's the first thing I should do?
Get somebody who knows how.
Get somebody who knows how. I should find the right recipe. Oh, well, I know it takes butter and eggs and sugar and flour. Now, some of you ladies are laughing because, yeah, you know that's what it takes. But if I just dump a bunch of eggs, I don't know. I mean, let's pick 2 and here, let's have 4 sticks of butter and, I don't know, 7 cups of flour. And Miss Faye's like, what are you making? She says it's going to be a big cake if it makes. And I really like sugar, so we'll put about 8 cups of sugar in it. Something hard doing it. It's the wrong recipe, isn't it? What? We don't even know there's a recipe too. That's why you need diabetes, at least diabetes. Here's the thing, folks. Guess where the recipe's found? Right here. The right recipe's found right here. Would you want to be shamed? No. So why shame others? Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Oh boy. There's a lot in there. Let's keep going. The goal is restoration of the individual, not rejection. Like a loving parent, painful correction leads to growth. The truth can... That wasn't the word I was looking for. It's right. Truth sets you free, but I was looking for the one, truth hurts. Right? The truth hurts sometimes. You're not doing what you're supposed to do. Discipline safeguards the community's purity and witness. Therefore, let us observe the feast not with old leaven or with the leaven of malice and evil, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth. Consider the lighthouse. Stands firm on the coast, guiding ships under perilous conditions. It doesn't change. The lighthouse doesn't change, does it? It doesn't move, does it? It stays the same. But it don't cause any pain. What is it Larry used to say? If you want to get hurt, go to church. We got to stop doing that, folks. Here's the thing. We don't want to shame folks. We don't want to hurt folks. We don't want to beat folks up. But we want to help correct folks. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes. We need to offer hope, not guilt and shame. How can we talk about a chain breaker if we're helping put chains on somebody? How many times have you messed up and didn't mean to? A lot. Yeah, it happens, doesn't it? What does that mean? Oh, I just said something I shouldn't have said, right? Can't take it back. Be a lighthouse, not a lantern. What does that mean? You know anything about North Carolina history? Pirates used to get lanterns and tie them to donkeys. Big bright lanterns, and the brighter the better. Tie them on donkeys and walk them up and down the beach. Why? So that ships would think there's lighthouses, but the lighthouse is moving, so they wouldn't know where there's at. So they crash on the waves. Is the easiest way to rob a ship. Be a lighthouse, not a lit donkey. Examine and engage. Examine and engage. Here's your application. 3 applications. What does that mean? How many times do you look yourself in the mirror? Once a day. More than I should. Here's the thing. We've got to examine ourselves every day. We've got to examine ourselves. Embrace the hard conversation. Ooh. I don't really want to have that conversation with so-and-so. Right? And I don't want to hear one that's going to be hard for me to swallow, right? That's why a lot of people call their pastor and say, I heard so-and-so, da-da-da-da, I need you to talk to them. What do you need me to talk to them for? Shouldn't you've already done it if you saw it? I mean, I'm just a hearsay by this time. Embrace our conversations. Live as a beacon. Live as a lighthouse. Guide. Be a guide for somebody else. Ignoring sin is not love, it is spiritual negligence. How many of you got people you've never talked to about Jesus? Don't raise your hand, but just think about it. How many of you have people that you care about, but you've never said a word to them about Jesus? How can you say you care about them? It's spiritual negligence. You must really like them if you want them to go to hell and you go to heaven. I like you so good I don't want to spend eternity with you. Oh, y'all didn't get that. Let me say it again. Some of you did. You chuckled. I like you so good, I don't want to spend eternity with you. Yeah. But that's what we tell them. How many of you would like to be standing there with your friend goes, what's this? A guy or gal you've known all your life, you're standing there beside them, what's this? And you look over and you go, oh, you don't know. Oh. See, this is where Jesus tells us what we did right and what we did wrong, and we get to go to the good. Oh, my bad. True love confronts sin to preserve integrity and restore souls. Commit to a community of accountability, discipline, and holiness. That's how I am, Pastor. I call you. If I see Cleston coming out of the liquor store at 1:30 in the morning, I'm telling you. Why don't you stop and ask Cleston, number 1, if he needs a ride? Number 2, again, I'm picking on Cleston. I have not seen this, so I'm picking on him. But number 2, why don't you talk to him then? Hey, man, what's going on? I mean, maybe you're out for a good reason. I have been out that. Trust me, when Julie was pregnant with our son here, and she'd get them Braxton Hicks and she didn't know what it was, we went to the hospital a lot. I'd catch naps at the train tracks because the train was always at that time of the night loading up at the feed plant. Commit to a community of accountability, discipline, and holiness. That doesn't mean you call your pastor or your deacons or your leaders of your church and you blabbermouth. It means you do what? You go to that person, you say, hey, what's going on? Nothing. Man, I saw you. I mean, if you walked into a restaurant and you saw your best friend sitting across at an intimate 2-seat table with a person of opposite sex that was not their spouse, you just going to ignore that and walk away? Now, it may be innocent. A lot of times it might be innocent. There's times I have met with women I work with in restaurants where we were discussing business. That's how rumors get started when you don't go find out. So-and-so with another. There was a rumor about my mom and dad years and years ago. Saw Dwight with another woman. Guess what it was? My mama finally got her. She wore long hair. And then she decided to get it cut short. That was when the wedges were coming in style back in the 90s. They thought it was another woman. Rumors went throughout the whole town. My daddy was with another woman. It was my mama with a different haircut. You don't want to know. We're called to reflect Christ clearly to the world around us. Reflect honestly on your own life, your church community. Engage in conversations about accountability. Do not avoid them. Be willing to have the tough but loving discussions about sin. That works two ways, folks. We're really willing. Hey, Bailey, I'm willing to talk about your sin all day long. All right, brother? We can talk about his till the cows come home. It's a two-way street, folks. We've got to be willing for them to come to us and talk to us about ours. Right, wrong. We all want to get where? Oh my goodness. Let me ask you a question. Have you got anywhere in life without a little bit of help? We may need help to get to heaven. We may need, I don't want to say this. I was going to say we might need more than Jesus. We really don't. But we might need some help from, have a little help from our friends. How many of you know that song? Help us keep in a reality check. Be willing to have the tough but loving discussions about sin. Well, I'm going to pause that right there. I didn't have my the end slide. That's it, folks, as they used to say on Looney Tunes. We're going to have a chance to talk to God about that right here in the next few minutes. In fact, we're going to go ahead. I'm going to let her go ahead and start it. Bring it on slow. Bow your heads, close your eyes. If you're not having hard conversations with yourself, you need to. You need to have hard conversations with yourself and Jesus. If others are not having hard conversations with you, that might be good, or it might be just they're too embarrassed to do it. Are we breeding openness where others feel open to come talk to us about things? About our stuff and theirs? When you think about it. Accountability. Talk to Jesus.